Well, joining us now is Edward Djerejian. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Syria, and he's currently the director of the Baker Institute for Public Policy at Rice University. He's joining us from the campus in Houston, Texas. Mr. Djerejian, it's very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. So we've just heard from a Syrian opposition representative there saying that the U.S. needs to do more now. Do you agree? Is there more that they could be doing?
Yes, I do think that the United States government must play a very assertive role at this crucial juncture. Secretary Kerry has made a major effort in helping to convene this third Geneva initiative, and the United States must use all of its influence and power to get the parties in Geneva to sit down and to start indirect or direct talks as soon as possible. Listen, the Russians and the Syrian regime are playing a very cynical game. It's not the first time. They're using these military maneuvers in and around Aleppo with a direct purpose of influencing the talks in Geneva to their advantage. The problem is that their military actions, accelerated, as we've seen in your reports here, are threatening the breakup of the talks again. And let's not lose the historic context. These are the third Geneva Initiative talks. The first one under Kofi Annan, the second one after by Lakhdar Brahimi, and this one under Mistura. And we cannot afford to have another collapsed international initiative given the humanitarian tragedy that is occurring in Syria. And let me make one further point, is that what I think the United States and the other partners in this Geneva initiative should be asking the Russians and Bashar al-Assad's regime is, why are you not concentrating your military efforts on Daesh, on ISIS? Why are you including Syrian rebel groups and other groups in these military activities?
Well, why aren't
this is
they
a very cynical military maneuver.
Why aren't they doing that? Is it because they want it to seem like the option is between them, between the Syrian government and ISIL?
Yes, I think that they're trying to make that, if you will, dichotomy, but it's failing because they're not going to get the Syrian opposition groups and the other groups to the table if they continue with these tactics. So, yes, short-term tactical gains for Russia and the Syrian regime, long-term chaos and tragedy in Syria that will have implications, negative implications for all the parties concerned, including Russia.
Can the talks take place? They are supposed to resume on the 25th of February if the UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura has his way. But can they take place when the Syrian regime, with the crucial help of the Russians, is winning militarily on the ground, and no international power, including the US, will be as involved militarily in Syria as Russia has been on the opposition side?
Well, I don't think the talks will take place later on in the month if the Russians and the Syrians continue these military tactics. Definitely not. But what needs to be done is that the United States and the other international partners involved in the coalition, both regionally and outside of the region, must come to a consensus, a strong consensus, that it has to be hammered out. These will be difficult talks. That has to be hammered out as to what the goals of the Geneva Third Initiative are, and the necessity and agreement of getting all the parties to the table. This needs a strong hand from Washington, from Paris, from London, from the Arab capitals. The time has come now for very strong diplomacy to help save these talks. If these talks collapse, we're going to have an untold period of continued conflict and crisis and tragedy in Syria. The time has come for strong diplomacy.
Edward Djerejian, former U.S. ambassador to Syria, joining us from Houston, Texas. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
You're very